We'll see. I might lose it. We'll see. I'm gonna try to keep it cool. All right. So, if you are a sentient being and you want your sentience respected by not being exploited or violated, without your consent, of course, then, you have a moral obligation to return that to all beings who have a similar capacity. What's up? It's nice to see people coming in. You got to be over 18. If you're under 18, I'll just kick you. Let's actually make sure my volume is all the way up. Vanessa, are you over 18?
Mm-hmm.
What year were you born?
2006.
Okay. All right, so why aren't you vegan?
Why are there animals?
It's just from evolution and things existing by accident in the environment.
So you think that animals are accidents?
I mean, I think that it's pretty amazing what we are. We're all sentient beings. Doesn't really matter what I think where we came from.
Are you 18? I mean, not. I'm sorry. I was looking at the 18 years in the corner. Are you vegan?
Yes.
So
why aren't you vegan?
Because I think that animals are put on this earth to be eaten.
Why do you think that?
Because if there are 26 billion chickens in this world, don't you think that they would just be overpopulated if we didn't eat them?
I mean, there's 8 billion humans. Why don't you eat human?
Because that's cannibalism.
What's wrong with that?
That's illegal.
Okay, well, legality doesn't equal morality. I'm sure we can agree that. Okay, why is it wrong?
You're killing someone.
Right, you're taking someone's ability to have any more experiences away from them, right?
So do you think that every animal should have a funeral?
I think that we are moral agents that can weigh out what's right and wrong. We can recognize that animals have a similar capacity to suffer, and they share an interest in continuing to live. I can recognize also that I don't need to use them. I can thrive using plant-based alternatives. So I guess I want respect if I were in their situation, so I'm respecting them how I would want to be respected.
Yeah. So you don't think that to grow some plants it takes animals?
No, you don't need animals to make plants.
Okay.
There's something called green manure. Look up veganic gardening or veganic farming. There's solutions for all the only reason we use animals as inputs is because we we unalive 92.2 billion animals, or excuse me, we raise for slaughter 92.2 billion animals, and we slaughter 80 billion of them every year. So we only use a small part of them, and the rest of it would just go into the garbage and potentially even more pollute, right? So they find ways to try to use it in the best way they can. We just have excess of it. If we didn't have it, we would just use plant-based alternatives, which are really easy to do.
Can I ask you a question? Oh, sorry.
Of course, go ahead.
Are you pro-life or pro-choice?
It has nothing to do with veganism. There are both pro-life. Vanessa, I'm answering your question. There are both pro-life and pro-choice vegans. So it has nothing to do with veganism. If anything, if you are avidly one or the other and you're not vegan, you are a hypocrite. Because either you care about sentience of a being and their ability to suffer, or you care about autonomy. Either way, you're violating those principles when you use animals.
Yeah, so I'm still gonna eat meat, but I'm just.
Why do you want to do that though?
Because they're delicious.
But how does it make you feel knowing that it harms them?
It tells me that I have food.
Yeah, but you can eat something else.
Like what?
Like,
Vegetables
I
that
see
fill
that
me
your
up?
picture, so I see your image as a dog. Would you
I ate
eat
my
that
dog.
dog? Asking you. I'm not asking you if you had to. I'm asking you for lunch. Do you want to have a dog and cheese sandwich?
No, because that's a house pet. That's not a
What's
cow.
wrong with that? What's the difference?
I would eat cows. I'd eat chickens.
Yeah, but you're not telling me
There's
what's
a
the
line. There's
difference.
a line where I draw.
What's the difference?
Different meat.
What does that mean? Do you even know if dog is terrible? There are countries that have cultures and celebrations around it. It could taste amazing. Why don't you want to try it?
Why don't you want to try it?
Because I know that they're a sentient being that deserves at least the moral consideration, right? Like, no one, if you had your dog with you and I came up and was going to harm your dog, would you protect your dog?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's not a cow.
Yeah, but why
Yeah,
would
but
you
like,
protect your dog?
because if he was a cow, then I would split the meal with you.
I never said anything about a cow. Why
Yeah, but
would
I
you
did. I said
protect your dog?
if my dog
Can you
was
answer
a
my
cow.
can you focus, Vanessa? Why would you protect your dog?
Because my dog is a house pet.
Is it because your dog can feel pain and it would be wrong to cause them to suffer unnecessarily?
Don't plants feel pain?
No.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't have a brain or a central nervous system.
Then
There's
how do
a
they grow?
study. They're just patterns or mechanisms that happen to keep surviving in their environment. You should look up Debunking a Myth, Plant Consciousness. Goes over the last 50 years of studies that looked at plant sentience. And they found that all the studies that say that plants might be sentient have not been replicated, which is what you need in science. You need to be able to replicate things to make them a fact. Otherwise, they're just a theory. And so for all the studies that look at those same mechanisms, explain them with just reactions.
No,
They're just stimuli.
Yeah, that's nice.
Okay, Vanessa, you have a great day. I get the feeling that you're actually not 18. You sound very immature. All right, Emily, come on up.
Hi.
Hey, are you over 18?
Yes, I'm 26.
Okay. Why aren't you vegan?
Um, while I do understand that there's like immoral moral concerns with especially industrial agriculture, I'm not vegan because of the health reasons. Um,
What health reasons?
well, I believe that the best diet is one of a diverse variety of nutrients. And if you look at historically, human beings have been omnivores. We have not
Right.
been herbivores. And so
Have
our
you
bodies
have
have
you heard?
naturally,
Okay, I understand where you're going, but do you have evidence? Like the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics says that a vegan diet is safe and healthy for all stages of life, and it's actually beneficial against many of our chronic ailments that are our number one unalivers, like cardiovascular disease, diabetes.
Mhm. Can I ask
So
you a
if we
question? Do you come from, are you a vegan because of health reasons or moral reasons?
moral,
So if you are a vegan because of moral reasons, let's talk about the moral reasons and not the health reasons.
absolutely, I wholeheartedly agree.
Okay.
That's why I have these references up here. I actually don't care to debate about health. Challenge 22, you can talk to a registered dietitian who has 2,000 to 8,000 hours focused on how nutrition affects your health. And they help you
Hmm.
for 22 days, and they help you meal plan even, considering your specific needs, your location, your budget, all of that. And it's all free. That's Challenge 22. Nutritionfacts.org has what's called the Dailey Dozen. Just a really easy checklist to make sure you get everything you need in a day. And that's also free. They also break down all the studies and tell you about like, why do they claim something is healthy? What does it mean to be healthy? Do you want longevity just long enough to reproduce, or do you want high quality living and long lived? And then ChatGPT is more of like if you feel uncomfortable reaching out to Challenge 22, which some people that's a lot of mental energy for them. ChatGPT is a easy way to ask for a meal plan and still specify your needs and your budget. And then you can throw those meals into Cronometer just to double check because obviously
Okay.
chat can make mistakes.
I appreciate all that. Like I said, I think the best diet is one of diverse nutrients. There
So
are
Emily, are you
challenges.
a dietitian? Are you a
No,
dietitian?
but I
Okay,
have read
so
a
I
lot of
want you to
books.
reframe. I want you to refrain from thinking that your opinion trumps dietitians, okay? So
Okay,
you agreed with me that we're not going to talk about health. You can
but
thrive being
yeah, but you're
vegan.
talking
So
about
moving
health.
on, we're talking about morals now, right? Okay, so what
Okay.
morally makes it okay for you to use animals and not, say, humans? Why is it not okay to use humans?
Okay, so I think when you look at the morality of eating meat and eating animals in your diet, you have to consider two different things. One is I 100% agree that the industrial agriculture is immoral. The way that animals are processed and treated in industry, right? Industrial agriculture. That is one seriously big problem. Um, but if you do not, if you do not look at the ecosystem of the life cycle and how
You
animals are part of
think
that life cycle,
animal
there's an
agriculture,
imbalance.
wait a second, Emily, I need you to stop for a second. You're telling me animal agriculture is helping wildlife and biodiversity.
No, I'm saying that industrial agriculture
That's good to hear.
is hurting
Okay, I
diversity.
want you to take something. There's something called let me pull it up actually. I always mess up the name now. Reducing food's impacts through producers and consumers. And they looked at thousands of farms across the world. They found that we use 83% of our current agricultural land dedicated to raising animals and their food.
Yes,
That's
corn.
including, hold on, stop for a second. That's including factory farming. Factory farming exists because it reduces the footprint, reduces the resource use, and it speeds up the time of the animals getting fat. When you put them on pastures, grass is not as high of a quality of food for them. So they take longer to grow. They take more water. They take way more land. So we're using 83% of our current agricultural land to raise animals, and that's mostly factory farming. And you want to expand that land and resource use.
I
Is
want
that what I'm
to
hearing?
No, so here's the problem that I have.
So
Most of
you
that
wait.
land is used
You
by
don't
corn.
like factory farming, but do you
Yes.
understand what it's for? It's to bring a premium product because you don't see animals as sentient beings. You see these slaves as your products, right? So they brought down the price of your premium product so that everybody could have some. Your only
Hmm.
argument then, if you want to keep with them being a product, is to take something away from poor people.
I'm not following your logic here. I'm sorry. Can
So
I talk
if you expand the land and the resource use, you're going to increase the price of animal products. Poor people would not be able to afford it. That's why
Okay.
factory farming exists. That's
I
why
don't
it's
think
90% of the farming.
I don't think you have heard my viewpoint
Emily,
first.
I'm
I
done
want to talk
talking to
about the
you.
corn
No,
industry and how it
I'm
hurt.
done talking to you. Corn industry, it's 70% fed to the animals you use. I don't think you're here to actually have a conversation. You're here to just argue. I don't have time for you. Okay? Any issue you have with crops, compounded by using animals. You need to do your research. Like I said, reducing food's impacts through producers and consumers. Go look it up. I just don't have time for you. Hey, Schmurder. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm so smart. Don't, if you don't want it. I thought it was the request. Yeah, I don't have time. I don't really need opposition. I can monologue, I just don't care to. But I don't understand people's arguments when they're like, oh, I think there's a right way to do it. It's like your right way is so expensive. it's just not doable in this world. You need to go look at our land use. Go look at what we're doing right now. You want us to, like 80%, I think it's 80 or 90% of the deforestation in the rainforest, the Amazon rainforest, is done for cattle farming and their food. Like, that's like the most atrocious thing we can think of, right? There's literally native people being moved out of their lands that they're supposed to steward right now for cattle food and cattle grazing. That's happening right now. That's what happened here in America. Like, I just don't understand why we're still supporting it when it's clearly a huge detriment to us, to animals, first of all, of course, because they're the ones that receive the sharp blade across their throat. Like, and obviously the planet. Like, does anybody know what nociceptors are? I'm sure my vegans do now, because who doesn't know at this point? But except for the non-vegans, nociceptors are the nerves that tell us that we're experiencing extreme pain, you know, which are very important. And we find that the animals we use have the same nerve endings. So when we see them struggling from their inevitable ends, it feels the same as if it was to happen to us. Yes, plants die. And you know, I care about plants to an extent. I care about the environment of them, but I care about sentient beings over a non-sentient being, right? We don't need to use animals. And if you genuinely cared about plants, you're even more of a hypocrite. We use so many to feed the animals. But I challenge anybody, please, find me a study that definitively says, hey, plants are sentient. I would love to read it. Send it to me in a private message. I would love to. I'd love to read it. Obviously, if you send something I don't care to look at, I'm not going to look at it. Veganism is not discrimination. I guess it's discrimination against oppression. I don't care to support oppression or exploitation. Yeah, come on up if you really want to have a challenge. I mean, so it was funny, JJ, I'm going back and I see your thing, like, if I pass away, feed me to a bear. I mean, you're already gone, right? Like, who cares at that point? Yeah. But what if you were alive and we threw you to the bear? That would be wrong. Actually, I went a little further back, but I'm back up front. Crime, I do feel like, does stem from us being okay with harming others. We're okay with squashing the spiders and bugs in our rooms, which, I mean, to an extent is self-defense, so I'm not going to argue that, but it's more of an impulse instead of a last resort. And then, you know, we carry that out to other animals, you know, mice and other animals we call pests. We see them being mistreated and we're like, okay, we hear about the animals for food. Some of us resist. You do see children that don't want to use animals and are forced to. And some of us are like, well, this is just the way the world is, right? And then you learn you don't have to do that. And you're like, wow, I've been lied to. That's the most frustrating part to me, is like, everyone's been lied to, but it's like, who is at fault? I don't know, but let's like clean this up. Let's stop doing it. Bacon comes from individuals that were gassed in gas chambers. I don't know if that'll take my live down, but there are gas chambers now all across the world, functioning every day. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I didn't see you there, Robin. You got to be over 18, though. Are you over 18?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So why aren't you vegan?
Why aren't you a carnivore?
Oh, because animals are sentient beings and I don't need to use them. So why aren't you vegan?
They're good protein.
Okay, why aren't you vegan?
Because vegan foods don't give me enough protein. I'd rather have animal protein.
Okay, that's fine. I know you don't know how to eat. That's okay. So what I would do is go to nutritionfacts.org, get the Dailey Dozen, just a little printout, a little check-off list, and you'll see what
Plant
everything
protein
you need to see.
is not plant protein is not
All
good
right,
for you.
Robin, let me put it this way. Let's say I had other resources that could guarantee you get every niche little nutrient you want on a plant-based diet, okay? Would you find it then to be a moral obligation to live vegan?
At that point, it's too much work.
Why is it too much? I haven't even given you any work.
But you're like going out of your
You're
way.
like literally, I'm like, hey, you want to go to a party? And you're like, oh, I'm busy that day. I'm like, I haven't told you the day yet.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like, I understand.
So if I can guarantee that you get all your nutrition easily and in your
without eating
budget
meat?
it would be vegan diet. Would you find it a moral obligation to live vegan?
No, never.
So do you know what veganism, hold on, do you know what veganism is?
Yeah, you avoid using animal products, I presume.
It's something I do, but what is veganism? Like, why would I do that? Why would somebody who calls himself vegan do that?
I don't know. You have like a soft spot for animals?
I wouldn't say a soft spot.
Well, yeah. I mean, I love animals too, but like,
No, it has nothing to do with love for animals. No, you're off again. Okay, so the reason why I'm vegan is because I'm principally against exploitation and oppression of sentient beings. So that means I don't think you should use someone unfairly for your benefit when you don't need to. You're not in survival mode. You're not in self-defense. You're in the grocery store.
Right. I agree. But would you like? So where do you draw the line at sentient being? Like, would you step on an ant?
Sentient beings mean that they're having a subjective experience and they're weighing those experiences out and they're making preferences. They want to be comfortable. They don't want to be uncomfortable. So all sentient beings are animals. They have a brain, central nervous system, or at least some kind of ganglia to be able to express how they prefer things.
Would you step on an ant or no?
If I was aware that I was going to possibly step on, I would avoid if I could. I don't go way out of my way. I go as far as practical and practicable, actually, which means as best as I can within where I'm doing or what I'm doing and where I live.
But like, see, that's what I mean. Like, you're already at the top of the food chain. Why are you trying to be like?
So again, why would I care about that? Why would I care about a
Let me
bug?
ask you
Why
another
would I
question.
care about them?
I've always
No,
wanted to
I'm
know this,
asking
okay?
you a question. Why would I care about that?
Care about what?
The ant.
Right. Would you? You shouldn't. It's just
I'm asking you your opinion. Why do you think I would?
Well, I don't know. You're superior to the ant.
Think about it. Take a second. What about these beings do we relate with them?
Well, I mean, I'm having experience and it's having experience, but
there you
it's not conscious
go.
like how I'm conscious.
Exactly. Do you want? They're conscious. They're absolutely. There's the New York Declaration of Consciousness, which talks about the consciousness of all animals, including crustaceans and insects. There's the Cambridge Declaration of Consciousness as well. So they're conscious. So I'm glad you agree with me. Now I want to ask you, do you want your ability to experience life and capacity to suffer to be respected by other humans? Do you expect other humans to not invade your autonomy without your consent?
Yeah, but I'm not equal to animals.
Right. And why is it that we do that for humans?
Because humans are superior to animals.
Supremacy is not a valid argument. Every time we use supremacy as our moral star, we end out with oppression and exploitation, not moral progression. So that's not right.
That's not true.
Just because you're bigger and stronger doesn't mean you're morally correct to exploit someone.
Hold on. But if you weren't
So let me give you another scenario. There's humans that exist that we wouldn't call sapient, but we would still call sentient. They can play with toys. They just don't necessarily think about thinking. You know, they care about things. They have preferences. They like to be warm and cuddly, you know, but they're never going to be able to reciprocate morality. They're never going to be able to contribute to society. Would it be moral for me to exploit that individual?
Exploit, no, but you should
Why not?
differentiate yourself with them.
Why not?
Because you're superior to them.
Yeah, but why is that wrong then now? Why is that now not okay? I am superior to them, right? In your opinion?
But you shouldn't
So
exploit them.
your opinion is it's moral for me to exploit them, to use
No, no,
them
no.
for
Why
my
would you
benefit
exploit?
unfairly.
Why would you exploit a vegetable?
Because
Why would you?
I could use them for many, many things. Disturbing things, weird things, doesn't matter, right? Using
Well,
them for
I'm
my
against that.
benefit without their best interest in mind.
Yeah, I would never do that. That's immoral.
Right, you agree with me that that would be immoral.
To a fellow human, yes, but to an animal, no.
Right, why?
Because animals are lesser than us.
No, not the animals. Why is it immoral for me to exploit that human?
Because there's such thing as wrong and right, and that's
No,
just wrong.
why is it wrong?
Why specifically it's wrong?
Yes.
You
Let me give
shouldn't
it
be
to you.
able.
I see you're stuck. Let me give it to you another way.
I'm not stuck.
Let's
You
say,
shouldn't exploit
hold on,
anybody.
I want you to stop. I want you to think just for a second. What if you had some terrible, and I hope it never happens to you, I hope you live a long, healthy life,
Thank you.
but something terrible bonks you. You no longer think like you do now. You think similar to the individual that I talked about, or you think similar to a cow, right? You still can play with toys. You just don't necessarily understand morality anymore. Can I exploit you?
No, I'm still human.
Would that be your preference, that I exploit you and use you to my benefit without your best interest in mind?
Well, I'm still human. I'm still human. I'm not an animal.
Right, but why should I care about you being human? What about you am I trying to preserve? What do you want to
I would
save?
say
Why can't I exploit you? What are you protecting? Your experience, you just said it. I'm just trying to point out that you care about what happens to you, right?
Yeah, because I'm not an animal.
Even if you got your head bonked and you can no longer do anything that's human, right? You're just not so much a vegetable, but you're sentient, you know? You just don't provide anything to anybody. You just exist. You would still want your autonomy respected and at least maybe even taken care of, but at minimum not exploited, right?
This is my personal preference. And
Robin, I need you to follow and say
hold on.
yes.
I'm gonna answer. I'm answering. I swear, I'm answering.
Okay,
This is
don't
my
give me a
personal.
runabout. Answer yes or no first,
I'm
and
not.
then
I'll
say what
be
you're going to
fast.
say.
You're not giving me
Yes
like
or no
space to
first,
speak about.
Robin. Yes or no first, and then what you're going to say, okay?
Okay.
Do you want your autonomy respected?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and say what you're going to say.
So if I personally have ever got to the level of what you just described, I would want my life to be ended. But that's my
fine, but that's
personal.
you. That's exactly. That's your consent. Not
Right.
everyone would feel that way, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's about
Exactly.
consent.
Uh-huh.
Right.
But me
The
personally,
animals
I
that you
would.
use, are no different, and they don't give
Yeah, they
consent
are.
to have their
They're
life
different.
taken away.
Yeah,
How?
but they're different though.
Can you tell me
Because
how?
we're at the top of the food chain and they're not.
So you go with supremacy again, and I just gave you an example where I'm a supremacist, right? You said that's
No, but
wrong.
you can't be a
So
supremacist against
you're
other
literally
humans.
saying two things at once. That's called a hypocrite. You have cognitive
How?
dissonance. Yeah, you're
How?
recognizing that you're
How am
literally
I?
using supremacy has never been a moral code. That has never been moral. Supremacy is disgusting. Stop using that as an
Well,
excuse.
if
That's
you
what
aren't,
racist people use as an excuse to be racist. Why are you using that
I'm not
excuse?
racist. I never said I was
Listen,
racist.
okay, Robin, you have a great day. I understand you don't
I'm
want to
answering.
listen anymore. You've been challenged, and now you're a victim. I get it. It's okay. Just take a breath, take a screenshot, go watch Dominion, go see what you do demand. Robin, you're emotional. You couldn't even answer a question. It's really sad. Take responsibility for your choices. Welcome to adulthood. OJC, you're not loading in. I mean, Robin, you shouldn't talk to yourself like that. OJC, you might have to step down and come back. You should be kinder to yourself. You have a lot more power than you think you do, jokes aside. If you were back in the time of when abolitionists were speaking up for humans that were enslaved, you right now are on the wrong side of history. But if you were an abolitionist, you would try everything you could to avoid supporting such a atrocity.
You tell others, stop supporting this atrocity. And here you are telling me it's your right to violate someone. For I don't even know what reason.
I don't know. I don't really understand how someone can, once they understand they're causing unnecessary harm to someone, feel justified to even argue that it's their right to continue doing that. Like, I almost guarantee you, Robin King, that if you saw me kicking a dog, you would defend that dog. And rightly so. Or at least think that I was immoral for doing those actions. Right? Same thing for cows, pigs, chickens. They all have nociceptors that feel excruciating pain like us. They all are having subjective experiences. We know that they even have, like they share similar mental disorders. Cows can have PTSD. We know that all these animals can dream. Fish can dream, shrimp can dream, flies can dream. They have REM cycles. Like, you need to go. It's funny because when you say the supremacist thing, it makes you ignore anything revolutionary that you realize about the ones you're oppressing. Oh my God, we actually relate more than we know with them. And we only really discriminate based on species. It's called speciesism, and I know it sounds silly now, but it will be known as similar to racism, which is picking arbitrary traits that mean nothing. They morally mean nothing. It's okay to be different. Even within the human species, we're different. And we're picking these arbitrary traits that morally mean nothing to say, it's okay for me then as the supremacist to oppress and exploit. That's so terrible. Good to see some vegans in there. It looks like our numbers dropped. There might be just, I don't know, might be just us veggies. Any non-vegans, come on up. I mean, did you feel good about taking their life? Excuse me, hiccup. See, that's the thing is, like, I understand you went to the store and you got something, or you stood from far away and you fired a projectile at someone that wasn't looking, and that's easy disconnect. But if you saw the life literally draining from them, you saw them fighting for their life, and you realized what was being lost, would that feel good? I mean, it's funny too, because people will tell me as hunters, they'll just bite that bullet and say, yes, I feel good about it because I get to feed my family. And it's like, didn't Jeffrey Dahmer do the same thing for himself? He was looking out for numero uno, right? He got the most free range, his taste pleasure. He even tried to do it humanely. Like, that's the same rhetoric, essentially. That's what you're doing. He did do humans, and there's really no difference, right? Like, to him, they probably tasted similar to bacon. And it was free. I mean, just the tools and that's it. So, like, how could we say that him just unaliving someone for his taste pleasure is wrong if we're using the same argument? Especially when we condemn those arguments when they're used against us, right? Oppression is wrong. Arbitrary discrimination on arbitrary traits that morally mean nothing is wrong. You have to be over 18. Oh, there you go. Are you over 18?
Yeah, I'm 26.
Okay. So why aren't you vegan?
Because of my religious beliefs and my lifestyle.
What's your religion?
Islam.
Okay. Your Bible is absolutely not supportive of you using animals. It's supportive of you being peaceful.
Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him, ate meat.
Yes. So
And it's part of our
kind of,
ritual
it's
that we have
really
to
sad
slaughter
that,
and sacrifice a lamb.
yeah. Where do you
So,
live?
No. I live
What
in
country?
the UK.
You need to watch
UK.
Joey Carbstrong and Taryn. I keep forgetting your last name, Taryn. You need to go watch, just look up Joey Carbstrong. You need to look up his recent footage of halal slaughter.
Oh, I've seen it.
You
I've
have?
slaughtered
Okay, so
animals myself.
how
I've
did that
slaughtered
make...
lambs. I've
No, no,
slaughtered
no, no,
chickens
no.
with
I
a
need to
knife.
understand what happened in that film. Because I want to talk to people that are honest, and if you're lying to me, I don't want to talk to you
Animals
anymore.
got slaughtered.
Did you genuinely watch Joey Carbstrong's footage? Okay, I
Yeah, there was
appreciate
like
that
an
you're
animal
silent.
that
That
was
tells
like
me you
held
didn't
down
watch
by a
it.
machine so it couldn't move.
No,
Yeah, and then
then you didn't watch
it
it.
slipped float.
All right. Well, you just have a great day. Again, I don't want to talk to liars. You clearly didn't watch it. Like, I will hear someone out that's talking about, their Muslim faith. I have no issue with that. But I don't want to talk to liars. And I'm pretty sure you're insulting your own faith. Hey, are you over 18?
Yeah, I'm 20. I'm 20.
What year were you born?
2004.
Okay. All right, so why aren't you vegan?
Religious reasons.
Okay, what's your religious reasons?
Religious reason is that God said it's fine to eat. I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, does he
Now,
say you
I
have
think something
to?
I think we would both agree
Does he
about.
say you have to? Clover, this is my life. Please answer my questions. Does he say you have to?
No. He doesn't say I have to.
Okay, so you're saying it's a choice, right?
Yeah, it is a choice.
Does your God say that I can do whatever I want to animals?
No.
Can I unalive them for fun?
No.
Okay, why
I'm
not?
do that.
Why not?
This is cruel.
Okay, so if I told you that you don't need to use animals, would you feel it to be a moral obligation to live vegan?
No.
So you come in here with your religion that says you can't unalive animals for fun, and yet you're coming here to tell me you unalive animals for taste pleasure.
No.
Okay, so you can thrive on a plant-based diet. I don't want to argue nutrition. You can go to these resources right here. Challenge 22, go argue with a dietitian. They have 2,000 to 8,000 hours focused on how nutrition affects your health. Go argue with them.
Everyone that gets on a vegan diet gets really skinny. I'm not about to do that.
Okay, again, I'm not going to talk to people that aren't going to listen. I just pointed you to dietitians, and then you go and say, unhealthy. Dietitian. Did 2,000 to 8,000 hours or 6,000 hours, sorry, I already forgot what I said, just fall off your ears? 8,000. I mean, I'm not here to just debate that 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 4, okay? I don't care if you can debate something. I don't care about you trying to make word scramble. We're talking about someone's rights, and I don't have time for people that want to just try to debate that something that is immoral is moral just because morality is subjective. I understand everyone thinks they have a different idea of this, but we all can agree that our own autonomy should be respected by other people. I don't care who you are. I'm going to defend my body. You don't have a right over my autonomy when when I've done nothing wrong and I'm not harming myself. Why are we then saying, oh, but these individuals, it's okay to do that too, just because they're vulnerable to us, right? I think that's why we can totally relate with other humans. Why can't we just expand that? I understand animals look different. I understand they don't think about making rent or voting or whatever, but that doesn't matter. What happens to them matters to them, just like what happens to you matters to you. Even humans that we have to care for, that will not provide anything to our society. We care for them because we recognize, or at least some of us do, that they're sentient beings and that they want to do their own thing. And they might need some care, but they still want to live their life. They have a personal interest in continuing to make preferences. Empathy exercises. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what you mean either. My clothes, I think, are made of cotton. Maybe some plastics. Yeah. But I would say if you care about plastic issues, the bigger issues are like the fishing nets and all that stuff. Because most of the garbage that happens here ends up in our landfills. Which is also terrible. I would like us to have better systems, but I don't have another alternative. And raising animals for clothing is not sustainable either. You have to grow plants to feed them. You have to have land to house them. They take water. Animal ag takes a third of our fresh water. Like, why are we doing it? It's even, and it's ugly to even talk about environment when we're looking at sentient beings. Like, if we were arguing about the abolition of slavery, it would be disgusting to be like, shouldn't have slaves because having all those people in one spot is dangerous because they pass disease and their concentrated defecation is harm to the environment, right? Like, what an insult to the people who are being deprived of their freedoms and their rights and being violated. You guys want to come up after that, huh? Oh, Robin King, I'm not talking to you. I don't want to talk to liars. Sneaky.
Hello?
Are you over 18?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm going to switch my camera. Here we go. All right, so why aren't you vegan?
Because we need meat for nutrition. Simple as that.
What do you need from animals that you can't get from a plant-based diet?
You can't get retinol from plants.
You can get everything you need from a plant-based diet. You can go here to nutritionfacts.org. They have a little checklist of all the foods.
In plants. They have beta carotene.
Carrots?
That's not vitamin A.
Okay. Well, I'm not a nutritionist. You can go argue with the nutritionist here. Right? Like, they're dietitians. 2,000 to 8,000 hours. You want to go argue with them? Nutritionfacts.org, their Dailey Dozen. They actually go over the studies of why a plant-based diet, a whole food plant-based diet is healthier than any other diet. They talk about what makes something healthier.
Yeah. I've read those types of things. They always
Okay,
say,
so then why are you arguing nutrition if you understand that you can... Okay, do you know what the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics is?
There's no omega-3s.
Do you know what... Sneaky. Are you here to have a conversation or just mumble to yourself? Do you know what the Academy? Do you know what the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics is?
Yeah, probably.
They're the largest body. Go ahead.
No, I don't know what it is.
They're the largest body of nutrition professionals in the world, and they all came out with a shared statement stating that a vegan diet is safe and healthy for all stages of life, including pregnancy, breastfeeding, infancy, childhood, adolescence, adulthood, elderly age, even athletes. And it's preventative against many of our chronic diseases that are number one killers like cardiovascular disease, and diabetes. So that's why I don't care to argue about nutrition, because I'm not a dietitian or a nutritionist. If you want to get your specific nutrition, you can, but you have to want to be vegan. That's why I don't care to talk about nutrition, because we're talking about sentient beings. It's like talking about why we should abolish slavery, and you're talking about, well, we get the textiles, right? That's disgusting. I don't care what they produce. They're sentient beings. Stop using them.
I don't think you can compare.
I can point out two atrocities that have similar actions in them.
It's not the same, because slavery is humans.
Okay.
Animals are not.
So let's say that we have, well, tell me then, what is actually the difference? We'll just go through each step. What is the difference then between humans and animals that makes it moral to enslave one but not the other?
I wouldn't even call it enslavement because
What makes it okay to use them without their consent for your benefit and not the other?
because that's how we're even humans in the first place.
So why is it morally acceptable to do it to them? Why do they deserve it?
Are you saying that being a human isn't even morally acceptable? Because we are humans, because we literally...
Can you answer my question? Why is it
animals.
morally okay to do this
You
to
wouldn't
animals?
have your big brain if your ancestors didn't eat animals.
Why is this morally acceptable for you to do this to another sentient being?
I don't know, ask your ancestors. You wouldn't even be here without it.
It doesn't matter what we did in the past.
And
a lot
actually,
of my ancestors did bad things. I'm not going to replicate what they did.
do you know our brains have been shrinking in the last 10,000 years?
Is that what you learned? Okay. Look, there is no moral justification to use humans because they're sentient. It doesn't matter if they're sapient. It doesn't matter what they contribute to anybody. It doesn't matter if they have family that cares about them. It doesn't matter. If they're sentient, everything matters to them. That's why they deserve human rights. It has everything to not be exploited, to have their sentience respected. And I understand animals look different, but there's no moral justification to do it to them. There's no moral difference. They have nociceptors, that same pain, they feel the same. When you see an animal losing their life, what they feel is what you would feel if you were in their place. And that would not be comfortable. You know it wouldn't. That's why it's hard for people to watch slaughter footage. That's why they don't put it next to the aisle. Because people know when they see it, they recognize suffering. And that causing that suffering for taste pleasure is the same as using animals, to unalive them for fun. You're doing it just for your taste bud entertainment. You don't need to do it. I understand if you don't understand what you're supporting, that you're taking away my freedom to have delicious food. Maybe you should go look up who you're eating and what they had to endure to become your food. And if you watch Dominion, I genuinely would love to hear back from you. No, I don't want to talk to either of you. Well, actually, I don't remember you. I don't remember you fully, so I'll talk to you. But if it goes awry, hey, remind me if you're over 18.
Well over 18.
Okay. I recognize your name, but I don't remember the last time we spoke. I think I've just maybe also seen you around a lot. Why aren't you vegan?
Is it okay if you speak in like a normal language or just to put on one?
I don't know what that means.
Do you not? Sorry,
I mean, do you want to have a serious conversation, or are you here to just be an ass?
Yeah, well, hopefully you won't cut me off if I disagree with what you're saying.
I mean, you're already telling me who you're going to be, so let's just end this. I will absolutely cut you off. Absolutely. I have no problem with it. This is my life. Okay. Hey, are you over 18?
Hello?
Are you over 18?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, so why
Right.
aren't you vegan?
Because I can't live without meat. But can I ask you something, please? You know the
No.
animals?
So what is it
You-
in animals that you need?
I don't eat a lot of meat, but I can't.
So you don't need it. So you
I
don't
do
need it.
I
Okay,
do
what
once in
in
a while.
animals do you
It's
need?
not really important to me, but
What do you
it's
need in
dairy as well,
animals?
isn't it?
What do you need in animals?
All right, I like cheese.
What
Vegans
do
don't eat
you
cheese, do
need
they?
from animals? Is it just taste pleasure?
Yeah, taste pleasure, and I like horses.
Okay.
So,
So
so
can I
you don't let me
unalive
ask you a question
humans?
about the animals.
I don't care to talk to people that just are not going to listen. This is my life. Go start your own life if you want to talk a lot. I want to have a true conversation with real people. I don't care to talk to Elmer Fuds. Just a bunch of Elmer Fuds out there. Like, how can you guys take pride in supporting oppression? How can you take pride in supporting animal abuse? It's ridiculous. Absolutely, I will kick people. I don't really care if it hurts my numbers or not. If there are people that genuinely are out there to listen, they'll hear me. Hey, Lori. There's just no moral justification to use someone for your own benefit without their consent. Yeah, it is not a debate. You're absolutely right. There is no moral justification to use someone without their consent. I've been up about 51 minutes. Not too long. Usually it does take, my experience, sadly, an hour for the people that just want to get their jollies off on sounding hearing their own voice and thinking they sound smart, trying to poke at the chat to possibly invoke this ego thing. So it does take the first hour to kind of weed those guys out, but yeah, other than that, it's been okay. I mean, I wouldn't even bother talking to him. He's just here. He's going to probably use some kind of appeal to hypocrisy, appeal to the nirvana fallacy. You know, we can never do everything, so why bother? Everybody's different. Morality is subjective. And some people are in certain situations where they have no option. It's like, okay, if you're a vegan and you're in a situation, let's say that you have to break your principles to survive. As a vegan, that's going to break my heart. I'm going to hate that. I'm going to hate crossing my principles to keep myself alive. But I wouldn't hold it against somebody else to do that in survival mode, right? Especially if they're brought up doing it. But if they realize that I don't want to cause this unnecessary harm, they're going to try to figure out a way around it. You know, I wouldn't ever advocate, though, for someone to harm themselves. If they, let's say, had to take life-saving medicine, and it's been definitely tested on animals, but if they don't take this, their quality of life will greatly, and I mean, not just, you're going to feel a little rash every once in a while or something. I mean, greatly diminish, or you're going to perish. Then I would say take the medicine, but advocate for those that you just subjected to that torture, right? That should weigh on you, that somebody had to experience vomiting blood until they pass out or potentially just died, or had it rubbed in their eyes if you're talking about cosmetics or chemicals for cleaning. You know, you should be aware of the harm you cause so that you know to not do it. If you knew every time that you hit, I don't know, every time you knocked on a door, it caused someone, a human, excruciating pain, I imagine you would probably stop knocking on doors. That means you care about someone having the experience of suffering unnecessarily. And I'm telling you, you don't need to use animals. So why are we subjecting them to the scariest system that we wouldn't even subject our worst humans to? Awesome. Thank you, Lori. Hey, Toad, are you over 18?
I am.
Okay, why aren't you vegan yet?
Do you want me to be honest?
Of course.
Okay, just because I like taste of meat, I just love it, and so far I hadn't been able to find a actual dish that I like that is vegan.
What made you want to try vegan food? I mean, I assume food that was named after, it was like a substitute kind of food, right? What made you want to try the vegan substitute?
Because I have a friend who's vegetarian, and he gave me some vegan and vegetarian dishes to try, and I made them, and I'm gonna be honest, I hated them.
Okay, so it was actually one experience where you just tried a couple different dishes?
Yeah, I tried about 7, I think.
Okay. So why, it was just for tasting it, right? Why is your friend
Mm.
vegetarian?
Um, because he feels bad for the animals that get killed.
Okay. Do you feel bad for the animals?
Um, Not where I'm from, because where I'm from, they most of them are killed in a humane way.
Okay. Would you put a dog through that?
Mm, if it's unlived in a humane way.
The same way as cows and pigs.
So where I'm from, um, the I'm from Sweden, so where they don't get killed all the when they're just born. They don't get killed directly. They usually wait and they get to um have calves. I think it's called, is it called that?
Are you talking about cows or pigs?
Cows. Calves.
Okay. Are you talking about, I know, but who's the mother?
The cow.
Okay. So she has calves? Yeah.
Yeah. Um so that the cow is allowed to have calves and produce milk, and after a couple of years
She's
kill them.
allowed? You think she
Oh yeah.
chooses? You think she chooses or the farmer chooses?
The farmer chooses.
Okay.
That's why I
So
said
the farmer
allowed.
chooses when she gets, even if she gets pregnant, when and if. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If
And
that were
then after a
humans,
couple of years,
what would
she
you call
gets
that?
killed in a humane way.
If that were humans, what would you call that?
We can't compare animals to humans.
Okay. Well, just play along. If I put humans in that situation, what would you say about me?
Well, first of all, a cow doesn't live as long as a human.
Can you answer my question, please?
What
What
did
would
you
you
say?
say? What would you say about me, or say to me if you want, if I was treating humans the way exactly you described treating animals?
I would call you a murderer, but you can't compare humans to animals.
Okay, so my humans will never contribute in any other way to society except for their meat, milk, and hair, and their skin.
Sorry, what does contribute mean?
Oh, they won't be able to get a job. They won't be able to provide a service.
I
They
don't
just
think a
kind of,
cow can get a job.
of course not. I'm talking about humans right now. My humans can't contribute to society. They can't really, they're not sapient. They're sentient though. They're kind of sapient, but they're mostly sentient and care about playing with balls and all that. But, I use them the same way that you use the animals. So why is it, they're the same cognition as the animals we use, but they're humans. Why is that morally wrong?
Wait, what?
I'm talking about using humans that are the same cognition as the animals we use,
You
but they're humans.
using
And
humans
I'm
how?
using them, sorry?
Using humans how?
Oh, for their meat, their milk, their flesh, like their skin, their hair.
Hmm.
What would you say about me?
I will call you a murderer.
Okay, so then what is it that makes it okay to do that to animals, but not to the humans I just described to you?
Because because we can see the human's emotions a lot more than we can see for an animal's emotion.
Sure, yeah, we can relate with them. We know that they're having a subjective experience, right?
Huh?
We recognize those humans, even though they're a lower sapient or at least sentient, right? We know they're having a subjective experience. They're weighing out those experiences and making preferences. They like to be comfortable. Maybe they have a favorite blankie or a certain area they like to sit, right? We know those individuals are having a subjective experience, and if we were in their situation, we would want our autonomy respected, right? We wouldn't want to be exploited. That's why we don't do that to those individuals, correct? Those humans? Yeah. Okay, so I'm asking you then, if what we recognize in humans is their sentience, it doesn't matter what they provide or what they think about.
Mean?
They're just having a subjective experience. That means that they experience things around them, right? And they're weighing them out on whether they like them or not. Like, I enjoyed that. I didn't enjoy that. They avoid harm. They do things that they enjoy, that they prefer, that make them comfortable or, just happy. We do the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm asking you, if we respect that in other humans that are the same cognition as the animals we use, why is it that we respect those humans but not the animals when clearly there is no moral difference? There may be a different shape.
All animals do is they go around and fart and eat grass.
I just described you a human that would do nothing else but the same.
No, a human gets a job and raises a
Todd,
child for...
were you here 5 seconds ago?
Who's Todd?
Were you here? Well, Toad. Sorry, Toad.
Yeah, Toad.
I have a light in my eyes, so I genuinely have a hard time reading some of the names because they're white and the light is white. But do you not understand what I'm saying? I'm saying these humans will never get a job. I'm raising them just for their flesh, maybe their labor a little bit, but their flesh, their hair, their babies even, their milk. They cannot get a job. Is it okay that I use them like that?
Well, no, because as I said earlier, you can see the
so
emotions
why
much
is
clearer.
it different? Do you understand what you just said?
Because
you just
we
contradicted
can see
yourself.
Humans' emotions a lot more.
Toad, you're just telling me that I'm ignorant. You're like, I'm ignorant. I just don't recognize that even though I know they feel pain. Like, you're literally like, look, I'm going to purposely ignore what you're saying. I feel like you're being like purposely obtuse.
No, I'm explaining to
okay,
you.
okay. I have a dog here, let's say, and I want to kick them for my benefit.
You already said this in a couple of other lives.
I have. And what conclusion, this makes me sad then that you've heard that. What conclusion do you come to? Should I continue to kick the dog or stop?
Why the fuck would you continue hitting the dog?
See?
I don't keep hitting a
how
fucking
can you
cow.
How can you say that you've heard it so many times and then that's the reaction you give me?
Well,
you know where I'm going.
I don't kick a fucking cow.
You do. You remove their head. You escalate it.
Yeah, I do that. No?
Yeah, you do. You do that.
I just sit there, eat my fucking burger. It's already dead.
I don't think you're understanding. If it's wrong for me to abuse someone, it would be wrong for me to remove their head. That's escalating the violence. You just agreed that you escalate the violence. If I should stop doing the abuse, which is down here, why should you continue to go beyond that? You demand abuse. And yes, a lot of it is actually abuse. But it doesn't even matter if you were to enslave someone comfortably, still immoral. We took them from their homes long ago, made them mate with individuals. Oh my God. Well, you know you made it when someone has copied your picture. I know, it's iconic. I'm glad I'm recording this to forever remember it. Oh, what are you sorry for? I'm okay with them being around. If anything, they're just getting my name known out there and people will seek me out.
I'm sorry for the disrespect. Can we try again?
Yes.
Okay.
So, my question was then, why is it okay for you to remove someone's head if it's not okay for me to kick someone for pleasure?
Can you say that again? It just doesn't make
So
sense.
why should I stop kicking dogs for entertainment and exercise when you escalate the violence to use animals by removing their head? Why are you morally justified to continue, but I have to stop? Why am I morally wrong, but you're right?
Well, because you're torturing the dog then.
Isn't removing someone's head a form of torture?
No, that's just an instant kill, in my opinion.
So I can do that to humans?
No.
So it's only, I want to go back to the cow, but the human is a contradiction. Back to the cow, though. If I remove the head from a cow, that's not torture?
No.
As long as I'm eating it afterwards. So if I just do it for fun, is that torture now?
If you no, that would just be, then you would be a psychopath and you would just be a murderer.
Oh, but
You
why?
wouldn't
Why
be
am I
a
Why am
torturer
I a psychopath? Why am I a
because
psychopath?
you're removing a head for pleasure.
And we agree removing someone's head for pleasure is immoral. So you're vegan now.
No.
Okay, so if you can get every nutrient you need as a vegan, what other argument would you have to use animals?
Well, I don't think this makes any sense actually. Could
What?
you explain?
You
I don't
don't
think
need
this
to use animals.
actually.
So you're demanding that they have their heads removed for your taste bud entertainment.
Yes.
Okay, so how is me removing their head for just the entertainment of removing their head any different from you removing their head to taste their muscle?
Because you're
If
doing
anything,
it.
that's more sadistic, right? You're removing their muscle from their body and then you're like putting it in your mouth. Like, is that not the most we don't do that to our parents when they pass away. That would be
No.
disrespecting their body, right?
Well,
And yet we
yeah.
do this to someone who wanted to live so that we can lick their muscle that we pry from their body.
So can I just ask? So that's inhumane, eating a cow.
Taking someone's life when they wanted to live for your benefit absolutely is immoral.
Okay, so let's say if lion eats a
You're
cow.
not a lion, though. You're
No.
not a lion. Do you shop at a
Okay.
grocery
Well,
store? You shop at a grocery store?
yeah.
Well, then you are not a lion. Guess what? Lions don't shop at
No, I
grocery
didn't say that.
stores. Are
I said,
you able, hold on, are you
you.
able to make decisions for yourself?
I think so.
You think, well, that's good. All right, so you should be left to be able to make your own decisions, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, oh shit, I just lost my train of thought. Go ahead and say what you're going to say then.
Well, would it be? So you're saying that I'm an asshole for eating meat?
Well, if you know the damage that you're doing, absolutely.
Okay. So would you say that the lion is an asshole for eating cow?
Oh, that's right, the lion, yes. Yeah, you are not a lion. A lion is out there surviving a harsh environment through things that it was taught that have kept it alive so far. We've noticed that a lot of these animals that are like big predators, if you take them away from a survival situation, they do show signs of empathy, of compassion. But when they're out there in the wild, they're just doing whatever is most successful to survive. So you can't really compare your leisurely walk through the grocery store with a lion having to survive a harsh environment. And on top of that,
That's
that
true.
was my point. Can
I'll
you
give
make
you
your own
that.
decisions? I got it back. Okay, so the reason why you feel confident with your own decisions, you're a moral agent, which means you know how to weigh out what's right and wrong. You know what's good and bad, right? You have at least the capacity to do that, to weigh things out, right? And decide what's right and wrong. Animals don't necessarily have that, right? They're what we call moral patients. And as I said, they're just surviving that harsh environment. But they're much similar to children. Children will do things that are immoral for fun. But they're not immoral people. They just don't understand, right? So we as moral agents have a responsibility at minimum to not exploit someone who's vulnerable like that, like a child, someone who just doesn't quite fully understand morality.
Well, how come
So we
a
don't
million
hold them to the
years ago
same
we didn't
standard as a
go out
human.
eating plants?
Well, because we were in survival. But like I said, you shop in a grocery store. You're comparing someone in survival mode with you in the grocery store. You see the difference?
Okay.
You have abundance. They have nothing. They're in a
Okay.
situation where principle isn't the case, it's survival.
Okay. So let's say every single one became a vegan. So don't you think that the cows and the pigs and the chicken will overpopulate?
No.
No.
Because we're the reason why a lot of them can't even mate. They're so big, they can't even climb on top of each other. Like, oh my gosh, please. Mike Rowe is not vegan, but he did an episode where he went to a turkey farm and he showed how we have to breed turkeys. It is disgusting, and I'll tell you, the man is holding a water bottle for a reason. We breed them. They can't breed themselves. There are some that maybe still can,
Wait,
but even
did you say that turkeys can't breed themselves?
there's wild turkeys, but the domesticated ones cannot.
Of course. I want a source for that. I don't believe that.
Oh, go look up
That's
Dirty
stupid.
Jobs, Mike Rowe. Go look up Mike Rowe, Dirty
On
Jobs.
YouTube. On YouTube.
It was yeah, you can probably find it on YouTube, and you'll be disturbed.
No, but
Like,
I want a
he's
source
not a
that says that
YouTuber. I want to be clear. He's not a YouTuber. He's like a famous TV guy.
he said, wait, that turkeys that are born in farms, they can't breed themselves.
Yeah. Most of them are
And who
factory farmed. I'd say
and who
99.9% of
put
them are
that
factory
shit
farmed.
in your brain?
I mean,
That's
go look it
stupid.
up. Go
That's
look it up.
stupid.
It's hilarious that all you can say is it's stupid. Go look it up. Go look it up. It's disturbing. I'll just describe it. So this guy has to go into a barn and he has to flip these turkeys upside down, the males, in a little contraption they have that holds them by their legs. And he has to rub with his thumb a little nub on that turkey. And there's a straw that it's a three-way straw that he's creating suction on that's going to suck up the shmeeman. I don't know if that'll get me taken down. Every time that it pumps out. And sometimes some of it gets in that man's mouth. And he goes, that's why I have the water bottle. And you notice Mike Rowe never does that dirty job. He watched it, but he did not take over that position. Yeah, pretty disturbing. That's someone's job to suction turkeys. Thank you, Lori. Hey, Isaiah. When you load in, hey, are you over 18?
Yo, wait, hold on. I gotta plug in my phone. All right, just ask me a question.
Are you over 18?
Yeah, I'm 23.
Cool. Why aren't you vegan?
Why aren't I vegan? I believe that animals were put on this earth to be eaten. Specific
Okay,
animals.
what makes you think that?
Because you don't get sick after eating them.
Okay.
It
There's
helps
a
you
lot of
grow,
things you
helps
can
you get
eat that aren't
stronger.
necessarily healthy. All right. So what if I told you you could get everything you can from a plant-based diet? Would you find it a moral obligation to live vegan?
Sorry, say that again.
So if I told you you could get everything you need on a plant-based diet, if I gave you that resource, would you find it to be a moral obligation to live vegan?
I wouldn't find it an obligation to eat vegan. No.
Okay.
For
So,
one thing, the
do you
diet
know
that
what,
you
before you continue, do you know what veganism means?
Yeah, so
What does it
veganism,
mean?
nothing with a face, right? Eating nothing with a face.
So it's basically a principled stance against the exploitation of sentient beings. I don't want to demand someone's oppression and exploitation, basically their non-consensual use for my benefit when I absolutely don't need to.
Okay.
Okay. So with
Could
that in
you
mind, why aren't you against oppression and exploitation?
oppression and exploitation? Okay.
Why are you against
Um,
not making any sentient being do what you want to do for your benefit? Why aren't you
any
against?
sentence.
Yeah. Sentient being
Uh,
means to have a subjective experience, and you're weighing out those experiences and making preferences. I want to be comfortable. I don't want to be uncomfortable. I avoid harm.
well, if I was to break down why I would eat meat, it'd be because every animal lives in a way that their only objective is survival. So it's
Why does
animal
that give
eat.
you the right to unalive them?
It's predator and prey. That's the way it is. That's just the way it is. And humans are at the top of the food chain, so we're gonna
So
eat
wait,
whatever we want to
so your
eat.
argument is might makes right. That's your moral
My
compass?
my argument is what?
Might makes right. You're bigger and stronger, therefore you have the right to violate their autonomy and oppress them.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
So
Hey,
every time
listen.
we look in
If
history,
humans,
Isaiah, I know you want to teach me something. Every time that we look in history and we use supremacy as our guiding star of morality, it leads to oppression and exploitation. It has never led to moral progression.
okay, but let me just put it this way: if there wasn't a human on this earth, that cow would have been eaten either way.
The cow wouldn't have existed.
What are you talking about? If there wasn't
We
humans
have
on this
bred, we
earth,
took, Isaiah, we took animals from the wild and made them mate with an individual that they wouldn't normally mate with, so that they had a deformed baby that made more of whatever you wanted to fit your needs. And we kept doing that over and over again. That's what domestication is. And we
who's to say
bred
that
out
wouldn't happen
traits.
without
We
humans?
bred out traits of these animals for survival because they were resistant in the beginning. All of
Well, there
them
you go.
resisted being
Survival for
domesticated.
survival. There you
But we're
go
not in
for
that.
survival.
Isaiah, hush. I know you think you got me, but you're not in survival mode. You go to the grocery store.
Yeah, and
You can
I
make a
buy meat
choice. You're not in survival mode. You're choosing to remove someone's head for your sensory entertainment.
for my entertainment. I don't
Yes.
watch cows get decapitated. I just eat them. There's a
But you like to
complete
put the
difference.
muscles that we removed from their body on your tongue. And that makes your brain go tickle, tickle, tickle.
No, I digest it and get bigger and stronger so I can live my life healthy.
But you can get bigger and stronger on plants. Why are you using someone else's muscle?
Okay, name some plants that would give me a high source of protein.
Soy, beans, nuts, rice. All plants have protein, actually. If you get your
Okay, then
daily
what if
calorie
someone is
intake, you'll get all your protein.
allergic to, let's just say, all those?
I'm not talking to them, Isaiah. I'm talking to you. Stop dodging your own responsibility. You're an adult, right? You know what's right and wrong. Why are you supporting animal abuse? Why are you supporting oppression and exploitation?
Exploitation is a crazy word to use. It's not
Tell me what it
exploitation.
means then. Tell me what it means,
It
genius.
okay, it's predator and prey. That's all it is. It's predator and prey.
Okay,
It's the
get
way
out of here. Puddle. Ridiculous, man. I'm sure you would advocate for the dog that's being kicked. Why the hell are you telling me it's okay for you to harm a cow, pig, or chicken, or fish? Let's see.
So I looked it up, and you're totally right.
Oh, right. Well, what'd you look up?
I looked up if turkeys bred in farms
Oh, did you watch
can
that
reproduce.
video?
No, I did not, because I'm not gonna watch it. You want
Okay,
me to
what
be
did you
honest?
find?
I'm not gonna watch it. I watched that artificially bred turkeys have a hard time reproducing because of their size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that doesn't
So
really matter, right? Even if they could mount each other, Putting people in a situation similar like that just because we know that they're randy that time of season would be immoral, right? It's immoral because we're going to take advantage of whatever happens afterwards. We're going to take their baby, we're going to take the secretions, and then when they don't produce any more babies, we're going to take the muscles literally off of their body.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all terrible. We would never subject ourselves to that or anyone, not even our worst humans. Why are we doing this to innocent animals that clearly feel the same pain?
I think mostly because of taste. Actually.
I mean, I don't deny that is absolutely what people are doing, but like once you find out the harm you're causing, why do you want to keep doing that? Knowing it's just this little bit of taste pleasure and really it goes away. I genuinely do not crave that flavor anymore, and the smell genuinely does bother me. I don't say anything to people, but it does bother me. And that just tells you that your sensory pleasures can change. I understand
It's also a
for a
cheaper
while there's
option.
adjustment. It's not. Whole food plant-based is cheap, super cheap. And you can actually
Not in my
surprisingly
country.
season. What country are you in?
Sweden.
Oh, it's absolutely. So there was a study done by Oxford that found all the wealthiest nations, it's 30% cheaper to eat whole food plant-based. Just
No,
go. I understand you. Look, I'm not a nutritionist. You
when
shouldn't
I
trust any
made those
TikToker.
7
Just
meals
listen.
that my
Hear me
friend
out.
said,
Hear me out. Hear me out. I'm going to argue with your whatever your friend said. You should go to nutritionfacts.org. They actually have all the studies that break down like why is something healthy. You know, what is it something about just getting to producing babies, or is it about you want to have a long, high quality life, right? And they break down what foods do that and how you know what's just being advertised to you and what's fact. Challenge 22, you can actually talk to a real dietitian. 2,000 to 8,000 hours of education focused on how nutrition affects your health. And they'll do it all for free. And they do it for 22 days. They help you meal plan. Like you can absolutely be healthy on a vegan diet. And if you know that, understanding that those animals are begging for their lives, stop demanding more be bred into existence. If you go vegan, that's the fastest way you can take your demand out of this. That's all veganism is. It's a principled stance against supporting that industry. And if you want to do more, which is how I felt, that's why I went live, that's another thing, right? That's, wanting to stop it. But at least being against it is the bare minimum. Not supporting it with your hard-earned dollar, right? If you would want someone that is purchasing your oppression to stop, like you're the oppressor right now. Why don't you give that same mercy?
because I don't think I make not a single difference if I turn
You
vegan.
do. You do actually. So it's something like Americans especially, but all the Western areas consume about it's like 100 to 300 animals a year. So if you stop doing that, that's 100 to 300 animals that you didn't demand into existence to be put into that system. That's a lot of individuals that you just saved from
Yeah.
immense suffering. That's a lot. Can you imagine seeing 300 or even just 100 animals standing behind you? And the thing is, even if you stand in a crowd, right, you are still having your own experience. Even though you're one of many humans in one spot, you still care what happens to you, right? To those individuals that you didn't demand into existence, right? That means the world to those that exist. It's like, I'm not forced into this system.
Can I just say one thing? I asked you earlier, if every single person in this world turned vegan, don't you think the animals will overpopulate?
No, I just told you a lot of them can hardly mate already. They're too big. And what we could do, if you want me to further expand on that, is that we would just care for them until they naturally died out. The longest lived of the animals we use are cows. And they live to be like about 20 years old because we've really messed up their body. Some of them can actually live to be even 40, but I don't think they can anymore. That was a long time ago that happened. So I think about in 20 years, we wouldn't have those animals anymore. They wouldn't exist. And there's no suffering in non-existence. We don't need to breed more dependent animals on us. Domestication literally means that they're dependent on our care. Like how irresponsible and immoral to force someone to exist that has to always be dependent on you on purpose.
So you think there's no chance of overpopulation
No, because we already control their
because of a
population.
small fraction
You don't
that
think,
some
wait,
of
so
them
you think
can.
all these cows, you literally, after we just went all through this, you think all these cows, pigs, and chickens are all just the 92.2 billion animals are there just because animals naturally procreate? You
Wait,
need
I'm
to
just reading.
go watch Dominion. You need to go watch Dominion. They show you what happens. We do that thing with the turkey. We also do it to cows. A farmer will glove up, put his arm inside her bum, and through the lining will hold her cervix in place so that he can squirt a little baby juice that they hand got off of a bowl, and they put buzzies in his bum to get it. They spurt that into her because when cows naturally mate, it's not as high of a chance that she'll get preggers. They need to make sure that she is. And that's where AI comes in. I've had farmers also tell me it's compassionate because the bulls are too aggressive. They can even break the cows' backs. So it's like, why are we bothering doing this anymore? We don't even need to be
So
putting our
do
hands in
all
their body
farms do
parts.
this?
So it's about, I think it's like 70% of cows go through this. But again, even if you put the bull mounting on top of the female, they can, I've had farmers tell me, these non-vegan farmers that are arguing to not be vegan, they tell me that using AI is more compassionate than allowing bulls to get to mount a female because they are so aggressive. So I want to be clear, what
Well,
you're advocating for is if we did that to two humans, what would we call that?
rape.
Exactly. And that's wrong. We see grape for TikTok. But
Okay.
that's exactly what it is. I did ask you, so that wasn't your fault. So I'm sorry I didn't warn you. But yeah, that's exactly what we call it. And these animals are not consenting to it. And lack of consent doesn't give us consent. All we have is that we know that they actually care about their families. We have cows now that are in sanctuaries where they're not being used. Some of them were pregnant and they show signs of PTSD where they hide their calves because they know that they're going to be taken. You know, we know that they live, we found that they do, like, it takes a village. If they have a baby and they find the baby, they take turns taking care of the calf. And cows are super maternal. But we wouldn't know that because farmers keep them in a certain way, right? We just see them as machines that eat grass and turn it into milk. We don't see that there's a farmer that literally has to penetrate her, or we have to hold her down so that a bull can mount her, just so that when she has a baby 9 months later, we take the baby away and we take all the baby fluid. You know, like, how does this make sense? How is any of this okay?
Well, it isn't okay in somewhat way, but a lot of farms in Sweden, the cows are freely walking outside on grass in a caged
The cows,
area,
do they have their calves
and
with them
you're
too?
interrupting me, and I never interrupted you.
Look, Abra, you can
Oh
either
my.
just tolerate it or leave.
Okay.
If you complain about it, I'll just kick you. I will absolutely interrupt you. I will mute you. Just be prepared. I understand it's uncomfortable and hostile, but that's my life. And if you don't like it, you can go live. Absolutely. Talk about everything you want and control however you want the panel to be.
Okay, can you answer what I said?
Go ahead and repeat it.
Okay, so a lot of farms in Sweden, we actually have this thing that is called, in Swedish, it's called kosläpp. And is when we let the cows be free for the winter so that they can go out and enjoy the grass. And they are so happy when they get to be outside.
How
And
sad.
it's sad that they get let out.
Yeah, why aren't
Huh?
they just free, right? Like, their wild ancestors did just fine. But now we've made it so that they literally can't do what they want, which is be free.
Well, they would freeze to death.
Exactly. We bred the ability to withstand their natural environment out of them so that they were more tasty. That's
Yeah.
terrible. What an atrocity. Do you not understand what you've done? What you demand, at least?
Well, if you only look at it negative, so then it's
If
gonna
you
be
only look at
YouTube.
the rights violations, then yeah, that's terrible. That's all I'm talking about. I'm talking about you took sentient individuals, you separated families, and when they didn't reproduce and you couldn't separate their families anymore, you demanded that their bodies be chopped up. And you think that's okay. You think that sounds all right. Even though I just described to you that these individuals are maternal. They enjoy their groups. They have preferences. They are even somewhat sapient. They think about things. We know that they're intelligent. And you just bypass that. Like, what makes
Yeah.
it okay? For example, I'm sure you care about dogs. Would you send a dog to a slaughterhouse?
Oh,
Like, why not?
somewhat Chinese. Yeah.
Yeah. Racists are clowns. Ghoulish, come on up.
Hello, vegan stoner
Hey,
lady.
hey, are you over 18?
Yes, I'm 21 years old.
Oh, okay, right on. Are you vegan?
No. I
Okay.
was going to
Oh,
ask you, do you know who the Vegan King is? He's on TikTok here.
yeah, I don't care for him. I'm not a
Really?
hustler.
I thought you two would make a great couple. You two have the same
It's funny how
dancing
cowards come up here
pattern.
to argue. They know that they're wrong, and so they're like, I have to do the lowest form of argument, which is be petty a child. It's interesting. There's just some people that like to egg on children to donate money to them, and I'm not that. I'm here to actually advocate for someone's rights, and I do get annoyed when people come up here to derail my live. I'm not here to get meta with you. I'm here to talk about why aren't you vegan? But clearly you can't even respect your own species, so you can't. It clearly is falling on deaf ears for some of these individuals. Hey G-Dog, are you over 18?
I'm 21.
Okay, why aren't you vegan yet?
Well, so I don't know. I mean, I like beef. I've worked around the cattle and pork industry quite a bit, and
Mm-hmm.
this, I mean, you don't have to debate or anything, but this is kind of like a serious question. Say
Okay.
hypothetically everybody did become vegan like tomorrow,
Yeah.
and I mean, there's guys I know they run 50,000 hogs every single week.
Yeah. So, do you know what vegan means? Do you know what vegan means?
Well, I know it's one of them is like you can't eat animal byproducts
Oh,
at
you're kind of
all,
cutting
and then
out.
the other
I don't
one
know
you
if that's
can.
me or you.
So vegetarian is. It might be
Uh-oh, you
me.
might be
I'm
losing service.
running down the road right now.
Okay. Say it again, though, if you can.
I would say vegetarian. That's you can't even eat byproducts of animals, correct? And then vegan you
Right.
can.
Okay. So it's not.
Is my
So
understanding.
vegetarianism is a diet. Often I'm confused on what the rules are on it. Sounds like mainly they just avoid red meat. Some still consider themselves vegetarians by eating other animals, but I don't really understand vegetarian totally. It's a diet of some sort. Veganism is a principled stance against the exploitation of sentient beings, and having a plant-based diet just happens to be what we do to avoid that exploitation. So it's not necessarily that I'm out here telling people to not eat a certain food group. I'm out here telling people they don't need to use a sentient being for their sensory pleasures.
Fair enough. But that kind of brings me back to though, like, you know, hypothetically, if everybody did become vegan tomorrow, where like there would be way too many animals. There would be, what, like, would
No,
it just be a
so
mass
I don't know
killing
if
of
you
all the
heard me
animals then,
before.
or?
So most of the animals that we breed, most of them are artificially inseminated because natural breeding isn't as successful as AI. And even the ones that do procreate, it's all immoral to be messing around with their jiggly bits, right? And I would say that the best thing to do if everyone went vegan overnight, we would all have the mindset that we don't want to use animals for our benefit anymore. So we would try to use whatever resources we could to try to potentially even move them to maybe a sanctuary, somewhere they could live out the rest of their lives. The longest lived of them all is about 20 years old, the cow. So about 20 years, there won't be any more. And then there won't even need to be a conversation on whether using them is immoral or not, because they won't exist. And there's no suffering in non-existence.
Well, see, artificial
So
insemination.
I'll give you another, I can explain another part.
Go ahead.
We use 83% of our current ag land to support animal agriculture. So that's to raise animals and their food, the crops for their food. If we got rid of animal agriculture, we would reduce our ag land use by 75%. And we could still feed more than our current population. We could feed 10 billion people. And we could even have land wild. Like I said, we'd only use a little bit of land.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact number. I live in a state that's like 90% farm ground.
Yeah, where's all that going?
You are correct on that. I believe it is like.
Uh-oh.
Oh, man, I can't even remember. Damn it, my service.
Oh, there you are. Oh.
What in the world? Yeah, I can't remember the exact statistic on it. I believe where I'm from, 90% is corn or livestock, and then the other 2 or 3 odd percent for.
Yeah, it's a lot. We grow a lot of crops and use a lot of our crops to feed animals. So if we eliminated that, we could feed everybody.
Correct, but
I forgot what the original point was, though. What was your first question or your first point? I know I answered it, but just to review, what was it?
It was just saying basically, if everybody went vegan tomorrow, what do you do with the massive amount of livestock that is just going to be hanging around?
Like one of my. We would just start, we would have people that are more professional in that area think about ideas of how to do this, right? Conservationists, people that are in charge of animal ag. We have a lot of subsidies that go to fattening these animals up. We could look to more supporting the farmers that are now, they have forced these animals into existence and support them in a way that they can now be a sanctuary, and support them in just caring for the animals until they naturally pass. And then that's it.
Fair enough.
Right? But the thing is, veganism isn't even about the larger cause. That's just a perk of veganism. It's a principled thing, right? Even if, let's say, we're further back in time and it didn't look like veganism, like the vegan world was on the horizon at all, I would still advocate for people to be an abolitionist to the animal ag industry because there's someone being enslaved, and that's what we're arguing for, It doesn't matter the benefits that come from relieving this individual's making or liberate them, right? It's what happens to them matters to them. I wouldn't want to be enslaved. There's no reason to be enslaving these individuals. So if you want to do that, you can avoid supporting that.
Well, and so I haul fat cows and fat hogs just to the slaughterhouse. That's what I do every day for work. And I will say.
Well, I mean, I would never tell someone to harm themselves or put themselves in a huge jeopardy, but it's your moral compass that you're going to have to wrestle with, right? You need to justify to yourself, do you feel good? 100%. Do you really genuinely feel good being the driver of, taking these sentient beings to their ends? And personally, I would probably be looking for a new job, but that is a personal choice. I don't think that if someone was genuinely in your position and really had no other option, I'm not going to hold that against you still working your job, but living vegan elsewhere in your life, everywhere else in your life. But I imagine that if you truly are vegan, you don't want to use animals. That's going to weigh on you, what you do.
Yeah, which I'm not vegan. I don't ever plan on it. And
what makes you feel?
Got their own opinion.
What makes you feel that way?
I mean, it goes back to just my own satisfaction. I love steak. I love beef and pork.
So what would you say to someone? What would you say to someone that's maybe a grapist that says, "I just get pleasure from using your body for my pleasure"?
Well, see, I can understand how you are kind of comparing it to an extent. Although the difference to me is
because you know that you're having a subjective experience, and that would be suffering and unnecessary, right?
Correct.
You're not consenting. I'm telling you, animals are the same way. They're not consenting to this. We're using their bodies for sensory pleasure. And you're saying right now that your sensory pleasure is trumping their experiences.
Yeah, but I feel like relating that to grape is
Tell me the difference.
I can understand your aspect, but in my opinion,
let's change it. Let's change it because you're worried about human and animal comparison. I have a flexibility in this. Let's say we're talking about graping animals.
No, but I'm saying I'm not necessarily saying it's a problem with the animal and human comparison. I'm saying it's a problem with
what's wrong with someone.
Using an animal's body.
What's wrong with someone graping an animal to get their pleasure?
Because when you butcher an animal, especially
you're not answering me. Why is it wrong to grape? I didn't talk about butcher.
I know. But
I said why is it? You're going on to some other analogy. Stick with mine, please. Why is it immoral to grape a pig? Why is it immoral to grape any animal?
It's immoral to grape anything because you're using it for. I don't even know how to explain that way. Look, I'm trying to explain it as in when you are eating an animal, especially with where I bring them to, everything gets used. Nothing goes to waste.
When I grape the animal, I grape all I can until they can't be graped anymore.
Oh man, I hate this comparison.
You're the one making this argument. This is your logic. I'm just throwing it back at you.
I'm just using it.
This is your logic, man. This is your logic. I'm literally just holding up the mirror. I'm literally holding up the mirror.
Yeah.
And you don't like it. It makes you uncomfortable, understandably.
Because grape and murder is what you guys would call it is something completely different.
I mean,
they're both bad. They're both
I'm
bad.
just saying, absolutely. I'm just saying that removing someone's head is absolutely escalating the violence. So if causing an animal unnecessary harm for my pleasure is wrong, you're doing the same thing because you can get everything you need from plants.
Which, I mean, you might be able to. I don't know. Like I said, I came.
I'm telling you, that's why I'm here. Hello, hi. You can live without using animals. Go to Challenge 22. Those are dietitians. They have 2,000. So listen to me. I'm pointing you to basically, they're not doctors, but they're close to it. 2,000 to 8,000 hours focused on nutrition. Medical doctors have 24 to 48 hours focused maybe in nutrition. So I'm pointing you to someone that will absolutely know what's healthy for you. If you don't trust that, go to nutritionfacts.org. They list out the different studies on why something is healthy, right? You can watch videos on it or you can go look at the studies yourself. ChatGPT, you can throw these studies into chat and have it like summarize it for you. You can use chat to make meal plans for you. Actually, Challenge 22 helps you make meal plans. The dietitians help you for like 22 days. Cronometer, if you do it with chat, you can throw them into Cronometer and double check to make sure you get all your macro and micros. So it's not a question about if you can be healthy. It's a matter of if you want to be healthy. But you can live any life you want without using animals, and that's what I'm telling you.
The healthiest diet for a human is the carnivore diet, though.
So you don't look at science at all. You just go off of your own neurons rubbing together.
I go off of how humans lived
thousands
of years ago.
That's great. I'm glad you think you do. Have you heard of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics?
Mm-mm.
Okay, they're the largest body of nutrition professionals in the world, and they all agree a vegan diet is safe and healthy for all stages of life: pregnancy, infancy, breastfeeding, childhood, adolescence, teenage years, adulthood, elderly age, athletes. It's preventative of cardiovascular disease. It can help reverse our major unalivers.
See, I don't know, because from personal experience, I had a cousin who went on the
I like
vegan
that
thing.
your personal experience, and it's not even personal, it's going to be an anecdote, is going to be what trumps in your mind what's more fact than thousands of studies and professionals that spend hours on this topic. You are very conceited. You think highly of yourself.
I never said that.
You think too highly of yourself. I need someone that needs to think outside of their bubble. I understand you want to beat me. We're talking about someone who feels pain and you're demanding it. You don't need it. And you're sitting here like, well, technically I still need to unalive this person to eat their muscle. You can get everything you need from plants. And yet, like, I'm pointing you somewhere where I'm like, go argue with a professional. You're like, I'm going to sit here with you. And you're not even a professional yourself. Go talk to them. Go argue with professionals. Oh, hey, Lori, I'm sorry. I got a little heated there, so I stopped focusing on the guest list.
Yeah.
Hey, oh, sorry, my camera's turned, so I'm like looking at you, but I'm looking like to the side.
It's okay.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Oh, the one's dropped. I'm doing good. It's just I was wanting to get in to talk to a couple of people or say something to them once, or they were giving
Absolutely.
me a hard time.
I got 3 requests. Are any of them someone you want to talk to? Like I can be here?
I don't see it on my side. I don't see it.
Oh, it should be, it says, do you see, it says 2 little people, and it says guests?
Yeah. And
you should be able to tap.
I can turn my mic off too. My mic, it won't let me turn off. Or should I go out
Oh,
and come
okay.
back?
No, well, I mean, it's up to you what you want to do. I'll pay
Well,
attention now that I know.
Yeah, there are.
I just got heated on that last one.
Oh, that's okay. I just want to, can you fix my mic? So you can't hear anything in the background?
Oh, that I can't do. That's just TikTok.
So should I go out and come back in and see if it works?
Sure, if you want. Yeah, I'll just pay attention if you when you pop back in. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Chimushi.
Hello.
Hey, are you over 18?
Yes, I am. I am 24, and I'm actually from Sydney, Australia.
Nice. Okay, right on. So, why aren't you vegan?
So, I actually wanted to. Sorry, I'm kind of wasting the guest spot. I am a very new vegan. I just started eating vegan.
Nice.
I was a meat. Thank you so much. I was a meat eater my entire life until I met my fabulous partner. That definitely helped make it. Sorry if I'm a bit quick talking as well. I'm very nervous right now.
Oh, that's okay.
I met my partner, and he made it extremely easy for me to start eating a vegan diet. And at first, I hated it. Every time I went to a family function, I had to, make sure I watched what I ate around him, and made sure I watched what I, didn't let him see. Like I was hiding it. You know what I mean? Like a dirty secret. Like
I understand that.
And I wasn't vegan. And
right, you were more plant-based, right?
Yeah, I was like trying to impress him in a way because we just started dating, right? But then after a while, I started looking into it and reading into it, and I've always kind of felt horrible for eating meat and animal products. I just kind of thought, oh, what's the use? The overconsumption is insane. What's the point, right? But it totally is a moral compass thing. And I feel like if you're against anything bad in the world, you should be against killing animals. You know what I mean? Like it's just plain and simple as that. Like I feel really bad for the gentleman you had on before because I feel like he's really been. I think the word is desensitized, especially if you work in that industry. I feel like it's the same as a soldier going to war. Kind of like you make it normal for yourself, right? To rationalize with it, to reason with it. So I feel like some people just need to broaden their spectrum. Like they just need to reach out and actually have a conversation with people, and instead of trying to do some zingers and some like I saw a dude in the comment with the consistent comment being like crops kill animals, or when we cut down crops or whatever, we kill insects and stuff like that. That is nearly a fraction, compared to abattoirs, like literal slaughterhouses, and then not to mention the trucks and the pigs falling off of it. It's all horrible. Anyway, so that was my 5 cents.
Beautiful 5 cents. Thank you.
I just wanted to say, you can become vegan. It seems hard because of how much it's pushed into your face, but just take it one step at a time. And trust me, you will start to feel better. You will start to think better. You will start to see things for what they really are. And you
Yeah,
can
that's the
start to
biggest one.
accept some love into your heart. Like, stop being such a concrete fort. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go hug a cow. Like, legit. Go watch some
Yeah.
cute cow videos, some cute pig videos, and cuddle your dog, because that beautiful being is gonna stick by you no matter what. And you want to fucking kill it and eat it for a simple, like, for a 2-second dinner? Fuck that. They are beautiful animals. They live for, like, I don't know, 20 years sometimes.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. They're gorgeous and incredibly
Yeah.
intelligent. Way more intelligent than half the people on this planet. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for not having a grifter TikTok live. I'm so sick of seeing these grifter lives where it's like, Israel this or Palestine that, or trans women this and abortion rights that, and eat meat this and vegan that. And I'm not saying that you're a grifter. I'm just saying it's a fabulous
Oh yeah, no, I
breath of
understand. You're saying they're
fresh air.
exploiting these, yeah, they're exploiting these
Yes, yes,
atrocities to,
yes,
yep, no, I hear you. I do not
yes.
like that. I despise it. Yeah,
So
despise
thank you
it.
so much for actually letting people come into this and talk to you and speak to you. And yeah, and peace and love to all the people in the comments. Please, just do some research, do some reading. Don't get too enveloped in the stupid Chad bullshit
Yeah,
online. Please,
yeah,
please,
please.
grow a heart. All right. Thank
Yeah,
you so much for having me. Have a
hell
great
yeah.
day.
Thank you for coming up. Thank you for sharing. That was fantastic. Thank you. And I gave you a
Thank you,
follow.
guys. Oh,
Yeah,
thank you, my love. Have a
hell
fantastic
yeah.
day.
Yeah, you
Bye.
too.
Peace and
You
love
too.
from
Good luck.
Sydney.
All right. Peace from the Pacific Northwest.
Oh.
All right. See ya. Well, that was fun. I love seeing new vegans. That's fantastic. I feel like right now is pretty easy to be vegan. There's so many alternatives, and there's at minimum at least the internet where you can look up everything. Oh, Lori, can you not unmute yourself? I'll send you an invite. I don't know if I effed you up. Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, you have me back off, but it's not letting me turn it off again.
Mm.
I don't know why it's doing that. That's so
Yeah,
weird.
that's weird. You know what? Let me try
It's
doing a
on your
little
end.
trick. Let's see if this works. Let's see.
I don't know. It might some of the
There you are.
different
Hold on, let's see. I'm going to do that, and then there you go. Let's see if that works. And then I think this one too. Okay. Did that do anything?
No, no, it didn't do anything.
Okay, I'm gonna kick you and then request back up. Okay, let's see if that does it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And then request back up. We'll see if we can kind of like restart it. Yeah, and I often can't like find you. That's why I was asking you to request, because it, like, I was looking through and I just don't see you. It's weird. Go vegan. All right, we'll bring up Adrian. Just know, Adrian, I might be a little distracted right now just because I'm waiting for Lori to come back. You're over 18, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Why aren't you vegan? Oh, hold on one second. Let's test Lori's mic real quick. Hey, Lori.
Works great.
Yay! Okay, good. Okay. I just took you off and put you back on. Little on-off switch there. So good.
Cool.
Okay, right on. All right, go ahead. Adrian, please. Or no, sorry, Aiden. I'm so sorry. Aiden, or is it James? What do you want to be called? There's 3 names there.
You call me Aiden.
Aiden, okay. So why aren't you vegan?
Because crop farming kills millions of animals, like field mice and insects and birds.
Do you like go to a grocery store and such for your animal products? Do you shop at a grocery store?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are the animals that you use? What do they eat?
Plants.
And those are harvested in big monocrops, right?
Right.
Yeah. So like most of our crops are being fed to animals. If we stopped using animal ag, we would reduce our ag land use by 75% and still feed more people. So any issue you have with crop deaths like killing insects is compounded by using animals. And we could stop doing that if we focused on growing plants, which I know sounds counterintuitive, but there's a study about it. It's called Reducing Food's Impacts Through Producers and Consumers. It's a big study that looked into this.
But the more you grow plants, the more animals you have to kill.
No, you're not listening though. We're growing plants for the animals you use. So if you care about the animals that are being unalived in those fields, you would stop using animals because they require food as well. We feed most of the plants we grow to animals.
Really? Is that a fact?
That is, I just quoted you the study. Reducing food's impacts through producers and consumers.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm bored.
Okay, so why aren't you vegan? Okay.
It was a hard conversation.
It is hard. It's hard. It's hard being an adult and taking responsibility for decisions. Like knowing that you cause harm is frustrating.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure we already talked earlier. I'm going to bring you up. It's been a while, so. But if I don't care to talk to you anymore, I will bump you. And Lori, please feel free to pop in. Feel free to pop in if you want. Anytime. Nope, I guess it was just an old request then. Oh, well, I'll wait a second. Sometimes it just takes a moment. Brent. Still loading. Yeah, gorillas are buff. They have huge fangs. They use it mostly to deter, whoever they're fighting against. Predators, other gorillas. Well, darn. Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like. Oh, we could go. Okay. Well, we tried. Maybe if you are trying to come back up, leave and come back. Request. Yeah. There's just, how can you say any type of oppression or exploitation is moral? Like, I don't know how people feel comfortable with saying it's okay.
Yeah, you can't. Because you just can't. It's all moral.
Yeah, it's inherently awful. It's in the definition.
Yeah.
Anyway, how are you doing? Anything new with you?
I don't know. No, just the whole thing.
Yeah.
I got a dinner pretty soon, but
yeah, I'm probably gonna I was gonna say let me know because I might end the live here soon anyway. Just because.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know how long you've been up. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have been up for I think it's going on 2 hours here soon. But I don't know. It's also the numbers died down really hard, but that's whatever.
Yeah.
I thought I would try to stick it out for a little longer.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm not sure what to do in the downtimes. Like, should I just yap or should I talk about industry stuff?
Yeah, anything you can. If these people are in here wondering where they jump on the panel and talk about crop deaths.
Crop deaths is just the worst. It's just the most, well, they're all disingenuous arguments, but it's one that really bothers me because I know the person saying, it's either they're saying I'm a hypocrite or they're trying to say that because there's no way to reach nirvana, why try to find justice for anything? It just frustrates me. And even when I point that out, they still don't understand. They're like, no, you still cause more harm.
That's 7.2 million compared to 92 billion.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that number, right, isn't even for vegans specifically. That's everybody that eats plants.
Everybody, yeah. Right.
And vegans make up 1% maybe of that. So
yeah, they're like 8.8 million, or is it 8.8 million or? I think they might.
Well, yeah, it's 1% of 8 billion. So yeah,
Yeah.
million. That sounds right. 8 million. Yeah. So anyway, it's
So we're
just
doing the
I don't know.
refund.
It's such a honestly. The other argument about that too is like there are ways that we can farm plants. We can improve how we cultivate them so we don't have to worry about crop deaths, right? We can
Oh yeah.
create areas like hydroponics,
Yeah.
like
Hydroponics is
indoor.
amazing.
Yeah,
Indoor
hydroponics is
growing.
crazy that it's
It's
all water but saves
all water
water.
and it grows. Yeah, they grow. I know they put they can put like stuff in the water to help it, but I mean
Oh
it's
yeah.
nothing
I
really
mean,
bad.
you can buy additives if you want, but you can also make your own
Yeah.
compost. You make little compost teas and then you run water through them and then you can
Right.
pour that into your
That
system and that's how
yeah.
you feed your plants.
Plants, right. Yeah.
Yep.
I know they do that with the hydroponics, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure commercializer again they're going to probably use bottled stuff, but I mean there is a way to make the natural inputs not be so down to just single, like there's easy ways like I said, the compost and such.
Well yeah, and
And
you wouldn't be using
yeah.
animal compost. It would
Yeah,
just be like
exactly.
what you're
We don't even
eating.
need animal compost. That's a
Yeah.
big part of our diseases, right? We keep getting E. coli breakouts because we use animal inputs.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty
Agree.
terrible. Yeah. I would prefer that we see maybe more of our systems turn into like permaculture where we like try to live in harmony with our surroundings, you know, providing homes for those that already live here, like our natural wild neighbors, but also still providing food for ourselves so that we all live in abundance. I think
Right.
that's a possibility.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A threefold see one, property rights. Animals need to not destroy them. Sure, if we stop them, they don't understand, right? Why would an animal enter a crop field?
Right.
Is it because they're maniacal and they're like, I will
They
destroy your
getting in there
farm?
and being alive, they don't know, but there are
Yeah,
things that we can do to keep them out.
exactly. But we should have empathy for them, right? Because they're obviously looking just for a meal. And
Yeah.
that, we can't hold that against somebody that's surviving a harsh environment. I understand that there's an extent to where we need to protect our food,
Right.
but maybe I misunderstood though. Rights, animals need to not destroy property rights.
Property, yeah. You just meaning properties.
I don't care about, so I still have empathy for even carnivorous bugs and animals. I understand that they cause harm. They're still a sentient being. We don't need to talk about that though. That any further on that topic is not vegan.
Yeah.
Exactly, that's true. I do need the people that claim the crop deaths number, you're absolutely right. The burden of proof is 100% on them. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, totally right about that.
I'm sorry, I was kind of dominating the questions there. If you want to answer any.
Oh no. Go ahead. A lot of the people in the chat are vegan that I can see.
Yeah, I know. It's like, hey, what's up, vegans?
Yeah, they're all in there that are on the other panels. Brenda and stuff like that.
Yeah, hey, what's up?
Dana, I don't know if you and Efren. Efren's in here
Yeah,
too.
I've had them up before.
Yeah, you've got quite a few of them.
Yeah. What's up, guys? I don't know. If we don't get anybody, I might just pull it down just because, it's been 2 hours and whatever.
Okay. Yeah, it's your call.
But, yeah, I might call it then here. I think, unless, let's see, CK89, do you want to come up? What's the crying? I don't know. I don't know if they're vegan. I don't know you. CK89. Hey, Brenda. Thank you. Okay, it's just a spammer. All right. Well, then I'll just call it.
Okay.
But I appreciate you guys all being here. And Laura, I appreciate you coming up too. I always love having you up here.
Yeah, sure.
It's always good having your
Be
company.
back on Monday.
Yep, I'll be back on Monday. I don't think I'm going to do Tuesday, though. I'm going to skip next week's Tuesday, but I will be, so it'll be Monday and Thursday for sure next week.
Okay, cool. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I'll see you then.
All right. I'll see you on Monday. See you guys. And if you're not
The whole flock hatch.